So Alicia, you just stated that the thought of asking a teacher for help really makes you feel uncomfortable. And I just really want to commend you for coming in here and expressing your feelings of stress and frustration to me.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I'm really at a point in my life where something's got to give, and I really need some help figuring out how I'm going to make it all work.
Okay. Um, have you ever been in a situation like this before where you were feeling very overwhelmed?
Um, yeah, I think around the time when I was like planning the wedding and nobody was really helping me plan the wedding, it was very overwhelming and frustrating.
Okay. And what worked for you at that point? What helped you feel less overwhelmed at that point?
Well, I guess delegating tasks to other people, just talking to people and seeing who was willing to help and who wasn't.
Okay. So it sounds like you have had really good solutions in the past for when you've been feeling overwhelmed. Do you feel that those tactics might be helpful for you in your situation today?
I guess if I could figure out a way to get my husband to stop thinking I'm his slave and help me, I think that would take a lot of the feelings of frustration and being overwhelmed. That would help a lot with that.
Okay. So I've heard you reference the word slave multiple times for how you feel about your relationship with your husband. Um, was there ever a time when you didn't feel like you were a slave in your marriage?
In the beginning of the marriage, I sometimes feel like my husband resents the fact that I'm trying to go back to school and maybe feels like I'm bettering, trying to make myself better than him.
Okay.
I feel like he's trying to put me in my place in a way. Like, I'm the woman, I should be cooking dinner, I should be cleaning, I should do his laundry when he's home. He could do it himself.
Is this something that you have expressed to him?
I feel like I've tried to. I don't think he's very receptive to it.
Okay. What was his response when you say he wasn't receptive? What do you mean by that?
Well, basically, when I bring up things, he tells me that he works hard all day. He shouldn't have to do those things. I'm just I'm just going to school. School's not hard. He just doesn't get it.
Okay, so that's got to be extremely frustrating for you to be in the position where you're um, working really hard at home and at school and to feel like you're perhaps not appreciated. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Was there ever a time that you did feel appreciated in your marriage?
I guess in the beginning, before I started going back to school, but then I was home all the time. So I don't know if it was being appreciated or I was just doing what he considers to be my duties as his wife.
Okay. So what has worked for you in your marriage up to this point in terms of being happy in your marriage or times that you do get along with each other? What has worked?
Well, I think what has worked. I think when I'm not in school and I'm able to do the things that need to be done, I think that makes him happier. Doesn't necessarily make me happier, but I don't know.
Okay. Do you feel that your husband would benefit from counseling services as well?
I don't think he would go. I think he could benefit from it, but I don't think he would go.
Okay. Can you tell me about um, the reason why you think he may not come to counseling?
I think he thinks it's for sissies. Sorry.
Okay. Has he expressed that to you before?
Um, Not in those words, but
Okay.
I don't think he thinks he's the type of person that doesn't think our issues should be discussed with other people outside of our relationship.
Okay. So if I were to ask him how his marriage is, what do you think his answer would be?
I think that he would say that I need to be home more, taking care of things around the house, doing my wifely duties.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you maybe have a sense that he's not completely happy in the marriage either.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think our sessions together talking to each other, um, how do you think that could benefit your marriage?
Well, I'm hoping that I get some suggestions on how to approach my frustrations at home, how to approach my husband so that it's beneficial for both of us.
Okay. That sounds like a really good plan of why you came here today. Um, Now you've expressed that the beginning of your marriage was, a pretty joyful time or a time when you felt maybe your communication was better or you were happier in your marriage and your husband was happier in the marriage. Was there ever a time during that period that you were frustrated?
I'm sure there was, but I can't think of anything specifically.
Okay. Um, can you think of a time when you've been frustrated in the past outside of your marriage?
Yeah, my last job I had, it was frustrating. I didn't feel like I was living up to my potential.
Okay. And how did you handle your frustration in that situation?
Well, I enrolled myself in college and trying to have a career.
Okay, so I think it's great that you really recognize times that you've been frustrated in your life or maybe things that you want to change in your life and you really take steps to achieve the goals of improving those things in your life. Um, how have you handled frustration in the past that you think may benefit you now when you're feeling frustrated?
Maybe it's helpful to keep in mind that I have options, that everything isn't so clear cut and black and white.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, maybe if I could figure out a way to talk to my husband, get my husband to see how important going back to school is for me. Maybe he'll lighten up on thinking that everything in the house is my job, and he'll help me out more.
Okay. Um, was there a time when he did help you at home?
Well, when we were first married and I wasn't in school, he I pretty much was home doing the stuff. It wasn't that big of a conflict. I'd be home from work and all that stuff would be done. I wasn't in class at night,
Okay.
so I wasn't having to balance house duties versus schoolwork. I was home to do it.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a little bit of, um, there's some issues in the marriage now because your roles have changed a little bit, or at least your role has.